Hi, Paul Hefty here with the Triangle O football system. I want to go over the design of an offensive call sheet and game plan. We use a three-step process here. We're going to go do the scouting and get a chart of defensive tendencies. Then from there, you'll design a play script to start using offensive triangles and play calling system. And then step 3 is a situational play script. At the end then, we'll have some Triangle O game plan preparation and templates for you. All right, before we get going, we want to review again our Triangle O principles and goals out of the no huddle. Remember, the key to spreads offensive systems using RPOs is to equate numbers. So number one, then, we want to go ahead and check numbers all the time. The safeties and linebackers tell all, so I'd like it where the quarterback actually points at those safeties to see if we've got one high safety or two high safeties. That really tells us if they have the possibility of an 8 or a 7-man run box. Then we want to go down and check those outside hanging backers, which we call Mr. Zeros. That tells us then again if we have access or no access to throw the ball. And then last, locate that Mike backer, which is key to our protection calls. Second thing then, we want to go ahead and look at trying to get our best blocking angles. I like to be an outside in type RPO guy, so we're going to go ahead and try to find that best edge, and then we'll go ahead and check the 3 technique. Usually that's a defensive tackle who's an outside shade on the guard. Tells you the strength of their fronts. Third then, we want to always try to get speed and space, so that's where we're going to go ahead and do field. Again, we want to try to get our speed in the space because that wins over scheme. And then we like to do early in the game, you'll see in that first series, put our numbers into the boundary, and that determines then if the defense is formation or field conscious. Last are goals for every time we prepare a game plan. Number 1, run the ball against anyone. Number 2, obviously no turnovers. And then 3, we've got to make big plays. For defensive recognition, real simple. Again, we're going to do those numbers where the safeties will start to tell a lot, 1 or 2 high. But then we want to go ahead and check if we have access or no access, which we call ANA. So you can see here on the bottom, we want to see if that Mr. Zero or the Sam is out defending our slot receiver. We say if he's outside the box and over that defender, then we have no access to throw the ball. But that tells us then he is not a run box player, and then we have good numbers in the box. Second thing we like to do is if we do have access, that Sam backer is not out over the receiver and is in the run box, then we want to go ahead and alert the quarterback that we want to think pass first, turning our RPOs into PROs. Last thing we can do is use our pocket play action pass cue, which is our north cue, and give our run action pass, but go play action all the way. So step 1, we want to go ahead and get those defensive tendencies. We're going to do this by down and distance. So you can see in the yellow at the top, we've got all the different down and distances. And then on the left in the green, we've got the field zones. So we call the black zone coming out, get 2. Then we've got our free zone around the midfield. Then we get into that 4 down zone. You can change that where it's at, but we're using plus 35 here. Red zone and then to the goal zone. What you want to list there then with each of those is the type of defense, meaning the front and the cover. And then you want to look at the type of blitzes they're using there. If you look in the orange, we've got an overview of the blitz percentages on that down and distance right there is what we're looking. So you can see in this example, this team is pretty low blitz on first and second down, but then third down they turn into 50%. Second step then, once we have those tendencies down, we want to start to do our play script, but we're going to start with our start of the game and our offensive triangle. So you can see here we're going to do this by series. The yellow is series number 1, and then we've got play 1. We're going to go ahead and get our formation is going to be duo to the field. We're going to look to run power, or we're going to go ahead and check angles using that triangle thinking 3 plays in 1. If the defensive end is head up, then we'll go ahead and run that stay with power. If the defensive end is inside our H-back, now we'll go ahead and go to sweep. And then last, third, if we have access, we can make an alert and turn this into pass run option versus run pass option. Tempo we like to use here first is a look and see tempo. Then the second play, you're going to see we're going to go trips, but into the boundary. So this is what I talked about earlier, where we can see if the defense is going to be formation or field conscious. We want to go supersonic tempo here, go quick. And this is going to be run all the way, no RPO. So it's a bongo call. We still have the triangle thinking where, again, if we don't have good angles for sweep, we can check the power and we can still check the alert. Still going really quick with our supersonic tempo. Play 3, if we're staying in normalcy, staying on track, meaning we're third and less than 3 yards, then we want to go ahead and go freeze tempo, which is our double cadence. And now we're going to go ahead and think trips or trio to the field side. We're thinking sweep first, but again, if we have proper angles, we can check the power, or we have access, we can go to alert. Now, at any time in the series, if you get out of normalcy, you can see the last column there on the right is our third down situational. And you can see we've got third and long, where we would use freeze tempo now on these situationals. We've got a third and medium and a third and short, kind of short list for you to pick from. Series 2 then is in the orange. What we like to do here now is reverse defensive logic. So we want to come out and think pass first. So you can see we're going to go double post, play action pass. Then we'll think waggles on play 2, move the pocket, and then play 3 if we're in normalcy. Go back to basic blast play, or we can go to, if you're a split zone team, we can go split zone or slip screen. Again, alerts at any time. Series number 3 then, we want to be able to move the pocket of the quarterback and get a good run pass mix. So again, examples here, play 1, we would just go split zone, but it would be at the H-back. Then play 2, we'll go trio to the field. We'll think a sprint out pass. Play 3, if we're in normalcy, then do a waggle where we're going to just go at that worst located Mr. Zero. So that's the start of your game. You can practice all week with this so your players know what you're doing with your series. You still have the flexibility on the third down situational to adjust. This is a Bill Walsh classic West Coast concept of scripting your plays at the start of a game. Step 3 then is a situational play script. You can see here we're going to do by down and distance, but then we're also going to look at the blitz percentage because that's key, especially on third down, and then look at the defensive fronts and covers they like to do. And then also we've got some special situations, kind of a short list there. The key to this is with offensive thinking is you don't want to get so locked into the scheme as much as you want to get the ball to your playmakers. That's the number one thing. So what's the best play in that situation against that defense, against that blitz, to keep the ball in your playmakers' hands? So here we'll look at on the upper left-hand corner, situation is third with 1 to 3 yards. Tendency is shown that we did at the very beginning is they like to blitz 40% of the time. Their most common front is an overstack, which is a 62 basically, and then they're in a cover 0. So you can see the list of the different plays we can run there: sweep, power, alert, Oriole, spikes, blast, and split zone. Again, you'll make up what you want with these, but this is kind of your short list for those third down situations. And then last one is second and long. For the special situations, always trying to have our 2-point plays ready to go, a minimum of 3 of those ready. We want to be able to use our go-go tempo where we just repeat and go super fast. So these are our core plays that we'll like to do that out of. Plus then, we want to use some movement shifts in our NASCAR. Snake eyes, these are kind of your trick plays or gadget plays. And then 3 plays to win. When it comes down to it, what are your 3 best players to get the ball to your playmakers, regardless of the defense and what you're running? What do you do best when the game's on the line? And then last, fourth and medium, again, your 3 to 4 best plays. All right, last year then are going to be a bunch of templates that you can use. Um, Again, first we want to go over those opponents' defensive tendencies. So just as we showed by down and distance, and then field zones. So you just would, with huddle, get that information and be able to lock that in. It's nice to have a visual like this. Then second part is defensive recognition or roles during the game. Again, I like to give these to different coaches, but you can see you have the O-line coach doing the fronts. This is just examples. The linebackers would be the running back coach. Receivers would focus on coverages. Quarterback coach on blitzes. And then you can have someone working on short yardage, and you can have another coach working on those offensive, defensive numbers and access, no access. Always want to have a core list of concepts that you should be attacking against the different defensive fronts. So this is kind of a cheat sheet. So if you get a different look than you've prepared for all week, you aren't just grabbing at plays. These are telling you what should be good and sound from a number situation and scheme situation against these different fronts. So you can see here, got the base 43, then we got a pro 43, a stack 42, odd 34, and then your bear TMT. Again, you can fill in what's best for you, but it's good to have this cheat sheet to go reference to. We do the same thing with coverages, where we're going to go look at our core coverages and the different concepts to attack those coverages. These are sound decisions so that, again, you're not just grabbing at plays if you get something different. And again, everybody on the staff, this is great to have a discussion so you're all on the same page before each week you design and make adjustments to this list. Next would be your play script versus the blitz, because again, that's what's going to happen most of the time on third down. So again, you have a cheat sheet against the different type of blitzes. This is what you should be good at, which attacks those schemes well with your offensive concepts. You also want to start your play script now, where you start to look at tempos, your RPOs, your core pass, your core blitz beaters, and then your shot plays. Again, where you want to go for those snake eyes big plays with it. Next is your critical, your blitz beaters, your shot plays, and your personnel. So again, we want to go ahead and look at critical ones during those situations when the game's on the line. And then if you are using personnel groups, to go ahead and list those, and again, check off the ones you want to be able to use. Also have 2 minute on your first downs here, and then your 4-minute offense. Next then is that situational play script. This is just the template. So again, you want to take those tendencies and fill in what is the blitz percentage, what is the core front and the coverage on those different third down situations. And then from there, pick your 3 best plays against each of those areas. Same thing with your critical wins. Fill in those blitz percentages, the front and the coverage, and you can start to look at the different situations for critical wins, top 3 plays. All right, last then are field zones play script and a self scout. Again, we want to go ahead and take those different field zones and look at the tendencies of blitz percentage, fronts, and coverages. Looking at that black zone where you're coming out of your end zone, to the get to zone, to the 4 down zone, red zone, and goal zone. Then with self scouting, we want to go ahead and look at our last 2 games or look at your season trends against those different in your different sets. Kind of start with run percentage and pass percentage, what you call out of that. And you want to try to reverse that every 2 weeks. The key here to filling all these out is you want to use this then in your practice preparation. So when you go to team, you can go ahead and have your mini play game plans for different zones of the field, different downs and distances, different critical situations, and you again know what your tendencies are and you can use them to your advantage. So this is something that you would have prepared before you start on Monday or Tuesday, and then it can be adjusted, because again, the bottom line is what you do best is more important than trying to find the perfect scheme, getting those balls to your playmakers. Thanks.